Hi everybody, it's Amanda here at the South Cobb Regional Library, and I am so glad that everyone decided to come back for another super fun Wednesday's Wizarding Masterminds today. Today's theme has to do with the fact that we're in October and there's lots of skeletons around, so we're going to look a little bit at the bones in our hands and how those relate to robotic hands, and then I'll show you how to make a really cool low-tech robotic hand that has some of the framework that you would find in a real robotic hand. And if you want to, you could even take my design and take it one step further and add the computerized element and make a robotic hand. So that sounds really cool. So if all my wizards are ready, we'll go ahead and we'll get our wizarding hats out and then we'll get started. So I'll just give everybody a little bit of time to go get their wizarding hats and then we will put them on. All right, I have my wizarding hat and I hope that all of you have yours. So I'll go ahead and put mine on, just like that. Now we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. On this picture, you'll see all the different bones that are in your hand and your wrist. And so as you look at this picture, I want you to take your hand and make a fist and sort of just look at where the different joints are, where your hand is bending, and how those bones fit in with this picture that you're seeing. So in this picture, you'll see that the bones that are in your fingers are called phalanges, and your forefingers, you have 3 bones each in those, and you have 2 bones that are in your thumb. You don't have the middle bone that is blue on this picture. And then you do, however, have 5 metacarpals that go across your hand, and that includes your thumb. And finally, you have your carpals that are the bones in your wrist. And our robotic hands won't have carpals, so you just need to really remember about the phalanges, your finger bones, and the metacarpals that are in your hand. So in this slide, you can see the different tendons that are in your hand. And tendons are what connects your bones to your muscles and lets your fingers move and adjust when you are telling it to move and adjust. So you don't need to worry about all the different names that are there. You can just see how they go from the wrist and they stretch all the way up to your fingertips. And so when we are building our robotic hands today, they'll probably have something that looks kind of like the tendon. Here we have a couple of different pictures of the ways that robotics hands can look, from a really simple grabber type finger that just sort of has little prongs that reach out to something that's much more complex. And if you look at the more complex ones, you'll notice that there's something hard and firm like your bones, and then there's strings that go up to the fingertips just like your tendons. So this picture here looks sort of like what I'm going to show you how to make today in terms of my robotic hand. But the one we're going to make is going to use a glove, but if you want to, you can use cardboard or paper or anything else instead that just holds the shape of a hand. And so in this picture, you can see that they actually have it hooked up to a computer so they can adjust things and figure things out. And if you really like this activity, then you can try to do that yourself and try to get more control and precise movements and learn and adjust and try out different things. And that is what this is about. So with that in mind, I will go ahead and show you how to make a really cool robotic hand. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So here are the supplies that you will need to make the stuffed glove version of our robotic hands. We have a glove, we have plastic straws. I have a number of different colors here, but as long as you have enough straws to create all the segments that you'll need, they can all be the same. You can use 1 straw or 2 straws. I'm just using 5 to make it a little easier to see. I have yarn, tape, scissors, and lastly, something to stuff the glove with. And I just grabbed some paper out of the recycling bin, but you can use whatever you have lying around your house. If there's newspaper or you want to use rice, whatever you want to use, that works. All right, let's go ahead and get started by cleaning up our space. I'm just gonna move everything over to the side until we need it. So our first step is going to actually be to stuff our glove. And this is a little harder than you think it will be because the fingers are really small. So you just want to use little bitty pieces. So I am going to cut my paper up and crumple it up into little balls, and I'll come back when that's done. So as you can see here, my hand is pretty well stuffed up until the wrist. So I am going to just tie the end of my glove into a knot. And if you find this to be too hard, you can just take a piece of your yarn and tie a knot around it, or tape it off, or you could even use your rubber band. We just want to make sure that all the stuffing stays stuffed inside of our glove. So here is my hand right there. Now the next step we want to do is to get our straws from right over here and set them out. And we're going to use the straws to make the bones of our hand. So if you remember what the bones in your fingers and your hand looked like, we have 1, 2, 3 bones in each of these 4 fingers. We have 2 bones in the thumb, and then there's 5 bones across the main part of the hand. And can anyone tell me what the name of those bones are? You are correct. These are the metacarpal bones. So now that you have named the bones in your hand, the next step is for us to cut our straws into pieces to represent the bones of the hand. So if we look at our hand and you remember what the picture with the bones looked like, each finger here has 3 bones, 1, 2, and then 3. And the thumb has 2 bones, 1 bone and then 2 bones. And then there's 5 bones going across our hand. Can anyone tell me what the name of those bones are? You're right, those are the metacarpals, and our wrist bones back here are the carpals, but we are not going to be making those for this project. So I have 5 different colors of straws. You don't have to actually have this, you can only use 1 or 2 straws as long as you have enough straw material to cut out each bone. And I will say that this works better if you cut them to be smaller than they really are. So I'll go ahead and cut these and I'll be right back. Okay, you can sort of see that I have cut the straw pieces into the shape of a hand right over here. And when you'll think about that and think about how it'll fit on our hand. So now that we've done that, you need to get your tape, and we're going to tape the straw pieces onto each finger. And since we cut them really small, you might find that your tape is too thick, and when that's the case, you can just cut it in half, and then you'll have enough for 2 finger pieces right there. So go ahead and I will show you with 1 finger, and then I'll speed through it to show you what we do next. So just want to take it and then fit that to where it would go on your hand. So you do want some space between each straw segment, each bone if possible, because that'll let you have more movement and flexibility when we actually get done. when you get down onto your metacarpals in your hand, it's okay if the tape goes across one another, because the flexibility will allow it to curl. But when you want the fingers, you want those to all be separate. All right, so now you can see what I've done on this hand, and I will do the next 4 and come back. Okay, so I'm putting the last straw piece right down here for the thumb, and with the thumb you just want to make sure that it's kind of going in at the same angle sort of, and make sure that your tape doesn't cover any of these holes down here. Because for our next step, we are going to take the string and we will be cutting a long piece of the string and threading it through the straws to make the tendons, which are what allow your hand to bend and move. So I'm going to cut a nice long piece of that. And then I will put a little bit of tape on the end just so that I have a hard piece that doesn't unravel as I'm working on threading it through the straws. And start down here, and I'll show you what I'm doing, and then I'll finish it up. So we just thread the string through each straw piece, going from the wrist up to the fingertip. So, okay, and then once you get all the way through, you're going to pull your string, leaving a long tail down here sticking out at the end. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right back into the last straw and tie a knot. And then I will cut off this string, making sure that I leave my tail there. A knot and cut that off. And I will repeat that for the next 4 sets of bones. Okay, so here is my completed hand. You can see that all the parts there. And now when I pull on the string at the end, you'll see that the finger curls, and if I pull on all the strings, it curls even farther. And so that, if you see how it's hitting where the straw fragments are hitting up one another, that is where it won't go any further. And that's why I decided to make the straw pieces smaller than the actual bones would be in your hand. So that's it.
Okay everybody, I have had so much fun today and I hope that all of you have as well. So I really hope that you'll show me all of your wizarding hands that you've made. You can bring them into the library or you can post them on our social media platforms. And just make sure you share them with us. So, I'd love for you to do that, and you can come into the library and say hi to your favorite librarians, because we have tons of fun and interesting things going on, even if 2020 is still looking a little bit different. All right, I'll see you guys next month. Bye!